I do a lot of bashing of other people's mock drafts on this channel, so I guess it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is. Here is my 2023 NFL mock draft so that you can bash it in the comment section below, because I know you will. I know you will. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro, and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. And we're going to be using NFL mock draft database.com, because they just have the prettiest mock draft simulator. And in part of a big reason why I want to do this, because I really think the draft order is starting to get interesting. We just had our first coaching firing of the season, so some things are starting to become a bit more known. So let's go ahead and get into this. By the way, you're going to see, hey, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. If you love doing weekly fantasy, prop bets, or college pick'ems, check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Broshmo. They'll hook you up, and they help support the channel. If you got a betting problem, just don't bet. Bet responsibly, people. Come on. So let's get into this sucker. No trades, except for I'm going to do this one trade before the draft, because Las Vegas is sitting here with this number 2 pick. I thought Derek Carr looked reasonably good last night. I just don't feel like they'll move on from Derek Carr, especially big part, of Adams coming over was, Carr recruiting him. So I think this might be a prime position for them to potentially trade out for a quarterback hungry squad. So we're going to do our one trade here. And we're going to have the Houston Texans trade up to 2 because they need a quarterback. And honestly, I believe that they're going to probably end up picking number 2 or somewhere within that top 5. So let me find Las Vegas. Trade here. We're going to trade the 6th for the 2nd. So it's going to be very similar to... It's kind of hard because you go back to the Colts trade. The Colts-Jets trade back in 2018. And they swapped first, basically moved up 3 picks, the Jets. And they got 2 high second rounders in response. They don't really have that. So I'm just gonna pitch my first from next year, and then I'm gonna give the Raiders my high 3rd rounder in exchange for their 4th rounder. Look at that. The little trade chart says it's good. So bam, one trade of the draft. Let's go ahead and start this sucker. I went through a few mock drafts before I thought, hey, okay, just to get me ready. This one I'm kind of doing on the fly, but again, a little preparation. I did a bit of preparation before this. Now, let's get into it. CJ Stroud. If you're the Panthers, you're drafted 1st overall, you haven't been able to get the quarterback position right since Cam Newton left. So go with Stroud. I would say Stroud kind of has the edge over Young, with Young being hurt right now. Stroud's got more ideal size. He's got an NFL arm. So does Young. I would argue that. So I think the Panthers, with the first pick of this new coaching staff, potentially new regime. So let's be on the watch for that. They go with Stroud, who seems a bit of a safer pick. You don't have to worry about his size. Houston Texans. I trade up for this pick specifically because I wanted a quarterback. So hopefully they're not going to get Sam Darnold in this, but we're going to go with Bryce Young for the Houston Texans. You get that 8th pick as well, because luckily for them, Cleveland's having early season struggles. They'll be 8th later in the draft, so we could kind of address whatever there. Let's go ahead and get our quarterbacks out of the way. Now, quick caveat. I'm gonna assume in this mock draft, because he's just so hard to project where he may go, because he just seems like he's just such a total project at this point. Anthony Richardson, I'm just gonna act like he returned this season. Anthony Richardson, again, just so hard to project, because you're looking at a Lamar Jackson-esque type of runner with the football, at least what Richardson could do in terms of what he has with his legs, but still needs to develop as a passer. So it's going to be interesting. I think you got to be a special team to really take and make the most of Anthony Richardson, so I'm just going to act like he returned to Florida with this year. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're number 3. This is kind of tough because it's really Will Anderson, Jalen Carter. You like what you've seen out of Alex Smith, Highsmith, but is that enough to be like, you know what? No, let's try to. I like Highsmith as a rotation guy. Let's go with Will Anderson to pair up with TJ Watt. Or do you take Jalen Carter? Because they're really missing another guy on the interior there. It's outside of Cameron Hayward. It's just kind of been this ongoing rotation of a variety of different players. So I think I'm leaning towards Carter. I think there's an argument to be made for either of these prospects being the top non-quarterback prospect in this class, but I am going to lean Jalen Carter. Now, the Detroit Lions, I don't know why. Some of y'all Lions fans have a fit when I give y'all a quarterback. It's like, I don't want to go quarterback early. So I don't want to go quarterback early. And it's like the whole purpose of going quarterback early is because you don't know if that guy's going to be there with your next pick. I get your defense atrocious. Guess what? A bunch of rookies ain't going to help. It just ain't. Micah Parsons ain't walking through that door to come and make this defense. Aaron Donald not walking through that door. So I think it's better to move on from Goff, frees up $21 million for y'all. Use that in free agency to bring in solid talent, some I would say some like low cost vets, and just start getting the depth good on that defense, and then address it. Like I think this offense is primed for a quarterback on a rookie deal. You plug in and start. However, the question is, who's quarterback 3 in this class? And you know what? With Will Anderson on the board, I feel better at looking at the quarterback position at pick 13 than I do right here. Pairing up Will Anderson with freaking Aiden Hutchinson just sounds too tantalizing to pass up. All right, we got the Washington Commanders. Again, that quarterback question comes up. We had Ron Rivera being like, oh, man, our quarterback play needs to get better. We have the worst quarterback play in the NFC East. And it's like, he's still sold on words, at least his words. But you know what? It's going to be a new regime anyway, coming in and taking on Carson Wentz. Did I call him words? Oh, I think I combined Hurts and Wirtz. That's interesting. But Hurts and Wentz, oh my gosh. Anywho, I'm not liking the quarterback pick here just yet. You know what? Wentz is doing enough with this offense currently. So why not just try to patch up some holes or some other positions that are a bit depleted of talent, and I think the corner position is one of those for me. Keely Ringo is going to test out like a freak. They're going to love his size. I know the production has been not bad, but it's not like, it's kind of like meh. But still, I think Keely Ringo is going to be a freaking stud. He's my top corner. So add into that group, you have guys like William Jackson, who's probably better in a more man-oriented scheme anyway. So maybe you bring in a defensive coordinator who actually likes to run those man coverages. So Ringo would be great for that. Benjamin St. Jude's has been playing a lot in the slot. He's been doing a good job. So you just start to build a very nice cornerback room. All right, now we are, in fact, here with the Las Vegas Raiders. This one's a bit tough just because, you're looking at it, it's like, man, do I go Miles? Like, you could go Miles Murphy because, Chandler Jones has kind of been whatever, but you could also say Brian Brzee because, like, there's really nothing on the interior of that line. I would, you got Theron Mumford right now sitting out there at right tackle. I would go ahead and get his replacement, and we're going to stick with the same school in Paris Johnson. I think, I'm really starting to lean heavily that Paris Johnson will be the top tackle in this class. He's been very good this season. And you know what? Having him across from Colton Miller, I think, goes a long way. Long way. The Atlanta Falcons, man. I don't think you don't think quarterback here, obviously. Unless you're Atlanta, you could get the top 2 quarterbacks. You got a good enough play from Marcus Mariota, and you don't know what you have in Desmond Ridder just yet. Hopefully they figure that out at some point this season. Maybe is he a guy that you want to move forward with? So we're not even going to think about quarterback. We're not going to entertain quarterback. Instead, I want to take the best player on the board. For me, that's going to be Myles Murphy. And guess what? Pass rush, especially from the edge, is one of the worst groups, I would say, in the NFL. So Myles Murphy helps add some pass rush there. Now we're back with the Houston Texans. And we could go a lot of different ways here. A lot. But you know what? I think I'm going to stick with, I'm going to go to the defense here. That defensive line, really, they're getting pressure from Jerry Hughes. That's it. I mean, he's been a very reliable veteran, but you got to start adding more pieces to that defensive line. You know, I'm going to take a quick look here at Houston. I want to see how Grenard is playing. He's been okay, but still, he's 11th on the team in snaps. So he's still splitting snaps. So it's like, yeah, you know what, we can get better. Again, Jerry Hughes is kind of the leader there right now in terms of pass rush. Let's get better. I don't think there's a pass rusher here. They're getting nothing from their interior players right now. Like Roy Lopez is okay. Malik Collins is okay. Good veteran depth. Let's go ahead take Brian Brazee, who's just freaking been phenomenal this season. All right, Philadelphia Eagles, their first pick. It's going to be here at 9. And a lot of the defensive line players, they're off the board here at this point. I'm not thinking Bijan. If you know me, you know running back high in the draft, it's not a thing for me. It's just drafting poorly, in my opinion. Look how good Najee Harris did for the Steelers. And I know that a lot of that's not his fault, but I mean, there's just more valuable positions here. So safety, I don't think there's a safety worth the top 10 pick in this class. As much as I like guys like Antonio Johnson and Brian Branch, I don't think they're worth top 10 picks. Then we could go to the corner position. And okay, who's the next guy after Keely Ringo? And you can make a case like Christian Gonzalez is really good. I really like him. You got Clark Phillips, who's a bit undersized, so he'll probably not be a top 10 guy, but he's been playing really good. But Joey Porter is kind of the guy. He's like a perfect scheme fit. Perfect scheme fit. Great length, good athleticism. So we're going to go ahead and snag that for the Eagles. So we have back-to-back picks here for the Seattle Seahawks. And I know a lot of y'all Geno fans are going to be like, man, he's playing really good football. And he is, but he is also 32. He's only on contract till the end of this season, which, I mean, there's a case here to be made. You can bring him back and he can be the bridge quarterback to whoever you take here with one of these two picks. And I like that idea. If you're able to bring back Geno Smith on a decent discount, because then you're dealing with a solid starter, high-end backup, and while you kind of nurture the next guy up. So I think with our first pick, we're going to go ahead and do that. For me, again, no Anthony Richardson in this draft class for me. I'm going to go with a guy I've been talking up for a hot minute. Hopefully I get the last name right. DJ Oyugalele going to the Seattle Seahawks here at 10. Now, what are we going to do with their next pick? I want to stick with the offense. I did think about maybe going defensively here, whether it was at corner, which like Christian Gonzalez was interesting. We could talk about maybe one of the interior guys, Siaki Ika, Gervin Dexter. We could talk edge. There's a plethora of edges like Jared Verse, BJ Ojolari, Nolan Smith. I'm starting to come around to. Not this high, though. Andre Carter. Instead, I think I'm going to go with the offensive line. And you might be like, oh, you're drafting a tackle? No, I see this guy as an interior player. I think he profiles better as a guard in the NFL. Your interior kind of stinks. A guy that was also recruited as a center, so he could literally fill all three of those like interior spots for you. I've actually been pretty impressed with Abraham Lucas. I think Charles Cross will end up coming around by the end of this year. I think there's a lot of talent there. So just addressing the offensive line. And keep in mind, like, you use the second round pick on Kenneth Walker. If he's going to be good, then you need that offensive line to be good. So we're going to go with Skoronski here. And then also, like, the Skoronski offers up a, like, if you do have a tackle injury, like, he can play the tackle spot. You know, teams are just worried about the length, and just he's not a high-end athlete. Arizona Cardinals, kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm going to go ahead and dip into the corner class, a very depleted cornerback room. Needs talent, needs a little sizzle. We're going to do that with Christian Gonzalez. I think he's a really good scheme fit there. All right, now we're back to the Detroit Lions, and this is where I want to do quarterback. The question is, who will it be? Will it be Will Levis? Will it be Tanner McKee? Because I like Tanner McKee a little bit more, but I understand Will Levis is kind of ready to play now. Not to say Tanner McKee isn't quite, but I get why the NFL is very high on Will Levis. He wasn't the walking boot, by the way. And, you know, Will Levis, compared to McKee, has been able to produce because of the talent around him, while McKee is kind of just doing it by himself. So I don't know how the NFL will look at McKee and be like, and feel about him. Maybe they feel more so late in the first round. I kind of feel that way about Levis as well. I think we're gonna go with Levis, a guy that's operate in a pro style offense. So you can say the same thing about McKee, and hopefully he can clean up the decision making. He's got plus athleticism compared to a guy like McKee. So we're gonna go with Levis here. The Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of people like going Michael Mayer here since Hayden Hurst is on a one-year deal, but the tackle position's been awful for the Bengals. Leo Collins just isn't looking good. Jonah Williams, I believe, is a free agent after this. No, I think they picked up his 5th year, but he's been kind of like shaky. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a tackle for the Bengals here. Guy that I could develop and hopefully start over one of those two guys if they continue to struggle. So we're going to go with Broderick Jones. All right, we got the New England Patriots. I hate this because everyone makes this pick, but it's a good pick. I'm going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba. I know it's a surprise. He's the first receiver off the board. I know I'm as shocked as you. Not really, but he's been hampered by a hamstring for the most part of this whole season. But we know what he is. He produced so much in 2021. He's a guy that that'll ideally operate out of the slot, but he really provides a lot of after the catch ability. He's a smooth athlete, if not not really a high end athlete, but he's very smooth. I mean, keep in mind, man, Cooper Kupp won't that fast either. So we're going to go with Jackson Smith here. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought about this one long and hard. And I think what it's going to boil down to for me was, you know what? You got to figure out if Trevor Lawrence is your guy or not. So let's just keep adding talent around him. And if you go into next year still with that question, like if in 2023 during that season you're still asking that question, you're gonna move on, and hopefully you'll have whoever you bring in after Trevor Lawrence, you have all this talent to already surrounded him. So I went with Jordan Addison. He's my top wide receiver right now. He do be fast, yo. He do be fast. A guy that could stretch the field. He could operate outside or in the slot. He's been mainly doing it outside this year, which has been great. So we're going with Addison. Chicago, you got to imagine you're doing offensive line, but for them, mainly it's the interior that needs addressing. I think Braxton Jones, for a rookie, has actually not been half bad, and Larry Borum looks really good at right tackle, so we mainly want to address the interior here. So if that's the case, then you're looking at Cooper Beebe, Osiris Torrance, John Michael Schmitz. Really, those guys, I don't want to necessarily take this early. So maybe we go to the receiving well, and it's like this receiving class is a bit of a question mark. But I'm gonna bank on this is a guy that's vastly different than what they currently have. I'm gonna bank on Quentin Johnston really ending the year strong. He, again, vastly different what they currently have there at wide receiver. So we're going to go with him. So wide receiver goes back to back to back. All right, Indianapolis Colts. Listen, I love this pick so much because they're going to be like, yo, Tanner McKee, man, that last cat that played from Stanford, he was pretty good for us. So we're going Tanner McKee. Keep in mind, again, Anthony Richardson acting like he's not available in this class, like he came back. So we went with Tanner McKee. Big fan of McKee. All right, the Miami Dolphins. You might be like, oh my gosh, Bijan Robinson's on the board. We need to go Bijan Robinson. Mike McDaniels. I'm just saying, this dude, he works with journeymen in day 3, and he makes them legit starters. That's why Raheem Mostert, a journeyman, has overtaken the big running back free agent sign-in for the Dolphins in Chase Edmonds. It happened all the time at San Fran, so I'm not gonna tempt fate with, hey, let's bring in Bijan, even though I do love Bijan. Next, you could talk about Michael Mayer, good value here, but Gesicki, they're gonna have to make a decision on him. Like, there's a case to be made if they don't bring Gesicki back, like Mayer could be this pick. I want to address the offensive line because Liam Eichenberg's been bad and Greg Little's been bad there at right tackle. And I know Austin Jackson, oh, well, he's been hurt. We don't know what you got in him. No, you know what you got. He ain't a good player. So I'm going to go with the offensive line, and I'm going to go with Olu Fashanu, guy that's been amazing as a pass protector for the Nittany Lions. Now, this is where I'm going to go Michael Mayer for the Bucks. Get Tom Brady, if he does continue to play after the season, get him his new Gronk. Bam. This one's going to be interesting for Chargers fans. So, after a lot of thinking, I decided I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson for the Chargers. Hear me out. Austin Eckler, I think, is a free agent after the 2023 season, but he can be cut this season. And he's been fine. They really don't have, like, he's been really good for him, but he's not a bell cow back. He's not. And typically, like, they've relied on guys like, this year, Sony Michel, more so Joshua Kelly, but they don't really have a good thunder to the lightning that is Austin Eckler, even if they do move forward with him. So I think pairing Eckler and Bijan up, and then when Eckler, you let his contract expire after 2023, and you have your back of the future here in Bijan Robinson. So may sound like a weird pick, but I really like it. All right, the New York Football Jets, hot off of a big win against the Dolphins where they just smashed my Dolphins. Poor Dolphins had no chance. Tackle's an idea. Someone brought up to me Dwayne Brown's on a 2-year deal, and I know Mekhi Becton still has 1 more year on his rookie deal. You would still probably want to go moving forward with something else at the tackle position, but maybe they really like Max Mitchell's been there. He's been okay. But Elijah Vera Tucker's actually played pretty well there on a tackle. So, you know what? I think we'll avoid the offensive line for now, despite how much Joe Douglas loves the trenches. Safety's a spot to think of. Maybe we go with one of those safeties like Antonio Johnson, Brian Branch. Instead, I'm going to get the Fred Warner to this defense. I'm going to go with linebacker, and for me, this is like no one, like, I don't want to say no one's really close, but he is probably largely going to be most people's current linebacker one in Trenton Simpson, a guy that's just so insane in space. Green Bay Packers, they don't draft receivers in the first round. This wouldn't be the year to really do it either. So we're going to go ahead. Adrian Amos is a free agent. I'm going to go with Antonio Johnson. I think he's actually a really good fit to the defense here. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, man. This one was a toughie. I really had to think this one through. Because there was a variety of different areas I could go here. I think ultimately I ended up settling with the edge spot, grabbing another pass rusher like Justin Houston. Go Joe. The Chiefs aren't up yet, bro. I'll bring you in later. But you got Odafe Owe. Justin Houston is a long-term answer. I know that they got David Ajabo, but he's coming off the injury, and he did have a small sample size coming out of Michigan. So honestly, just bringing in more pass rush isn't a bad idea. And I like the idea of bringing in a high floor, low ceiling guy like Isaiah Foskey, who actually could play a variety of different roles on that defense. Like honestly, you could pull him inside the tackle and have him play from there if you want. So we're gonna go with Foskey. Also a very good run stuffer. That was something Ojabo struggled with last season at Michigan. So bam. Tennessee Titans. I really think you got to address the offensive line. If Derrick Henry, he is the engine to the offense, so you got to make sure that the parts around it, the parts in front of them, are operating mighty fine. So we're gonna look into this class. I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably be pretty content with what they have in developing Nicholas Petit-Frere. The other tackle position is kind of wide open. Keep him because Taylor Lewan I think is probably done after this year, whether it's retirement, whether it's the Titans cut him. They got Dylan Radin still on the roster, I believe. I don't know, I haven't seen him, but is there a tackle we want to go there? You can make a case for Jalen Duncan or Anton Harrison. Instead, I think I'm going to go with the interior because Nate Davis has been good, Ben Jones has been good, the left guard's been bad, Aaron Brewer there. So how about we grab a guy, I really had to think about this. Grab a guy that has played actually a lot of a tackle in college football and played at a very high level, but that probably profiles as a guard. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Cooper Beebe. He's currently playing left guard, I believe, for Kansas State, but he played left tackle the previous 2 seasons and did a very good job at it. So you got a guy that's capable of kicking to the outside and playing if you need him to, or maybe if you like him there better. So there we go. All right, we got the Giants on the clock. Daniel Jones has been good enough. If there's a quarterback here, I don't think he'd be good enough for me not to take them. Because you're looking at it, again, we're acting like Anthony Richardson doesn't exist. I don't expect Tyler Van Dyke to come out. Jared Hall is more of a late day 2, early day 3. Hendon Hooker's kind of in the same boat. More so as a 3rd rounder. I don't see Cameron Ward coming out. And the rest of these guys we're just kind of talking about as late day 3 UDFAs. So that's just not the position we're going to go there. That's just not it. Let's think about this because the linebacker, we could address linebacker, but I don't really think there's a great player there. Henry To'oTo'o would be an interesting thought, but I think we're just going to stay away from it for now. I like the idea of edge quite a bit. And I talked myself into this. Because, they got Kayvon Thibodeau. Azeez really hasn't played much this year. They really just don't have anything outside of Thibodeau at this juncture. So, Nolan Smith, if anything, you're getting a guy that may be a bit smaller, but he flies as a run defender. This dude's he's got really good pass rushing upside in terms of length and explosiveness, but he's been so good as a run defender, and that's what Georgia does. They teach these guys to be to contain the run exceptionally well. So now you're getting another guy with kind of a crazy get off, similar to Azeez Ojulari. So we're gonna go with that there. And I've come around to Nolan Smith more so in this early day 2 fringe 1st round area. All right, the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of different areas we could go. I'm thinking maybe we go with offensive interior, because it looks like moving forward, Tyler Smith and Terrence Steele, that's your tackle duo of the future. Connor McGovern's probably gone, right? I don't know what his contract's like, but he's not playing that good. Tyler Biotish has been okay this year, and then of course you got Zach Martin. So it's like, do we consider Osiris Torrance? Do we continue to add to the offensive line? Maybe there's a lot of edge guys. Maybe we go there. Henry To'oTo'o, a linebacker, get somebody, because they don't really have a really good off-ball linebacker right now. I think the corner position, you can make a case. Cam Smith being here actually might be a really good fit, and I think that's where I'm going. Just add in more help in the secondary. I think we're going to do that. That's just a good get. Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know why so many people will be like, oh, get them like more playmakers. It's like, I think they're fine as is. If anything, I want to get some Chris Jones some help here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and snag. I think I'm gonna take Gervin Dexter. Siaki Ika is an interesting thought. They've been constantly looking for that nose. But you know what? Dexter's a guy that can play really anywhere on that interior. You could even have him take snaps outside occasionally if you want. Having him playing next to Chris Jones, I think, would be scary. All right, the Minnesota Vikings. I'm actually going to go add to the cornerback room just because I think Clark Phillips is just such a good scheme fit, like, for what Minnesota currently has going on. I know they don't know what they have in Andrew Booth, but cornerback depth is never the wrong answer. This guy has back-to-back pick sixes in the last 2 games, so just going to put that out there. All right, we got the Buffalo Bills. A lot of different areas we can go. Safeties consideration. Brian Branch, does he really fit the mold of Buffalo? I know a lot of teams are going to try to talk themselves into this guy's is probably a slot guy because that's where he plays the majority of his snaps. But I mean, dude's such a great athlete and sure tackler. Like, I don't think that has to be the case. We could also talk about their guard spot hasn't been good this year, so we could talk about Andrew Voorhees, Osiris Torrance. So I think those are the 2 picks I'm between right now. You could also say Henry To'oTo'o has an outside shot. So we got Torrance, To'oTo'o, and Brian Branch. Golly, that's a toughie. That do be a toughie, yo. That do be a toughie. I think I'm going to lean Brian Branch. Because both your safeties, starters, are getting a bit up there in age. So we're going to go... Where is Brian Branch? Oh, there he is. All right, Philadelphia Eagles. We took Joey Porter first. The safety here, honestly, I think I probably would have taken Brian Branch. But that's not the case. We don't have that. Jahmyr Gibbs would probably be on other people's minds. But you know what? Just worry about running back in day 2 if you're really that worried, because Miles Sanders is a free agent. I think I want to go with the defensive line. We got Siaki Ika, Jaquelin Roy. Those are probably the 2 guys that come to mind right now. Toi Peloto's not a bad thought either. Edge, there's a lot of edge talent, like a lot of edge talent. So maybe grabbing like Jared Verse, actually, because I was thinking, man, you know what, Andre Carter might not be too bad, guy you have to develop, but I think, man, Verse is just such a great athlete. I think that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Jared Verse. I love Jared Verse. All right, and I know Dolphins, they forfeited their pick, but the first pick in the second round would be the Las Vegas Raiders. So I guess we could consider what to do here with, the Raiders. Because we could go for more offensive line depth, honestly. Like, not a bad idea. You got Schmitz here, but Andre Carter returned and he looked all right. And then Dylan Parham is going to be shoring up one of the guard spots. So, I mean, not necessarily. We don't have to necessarily go offensive line. Receiver Keyshawn Butte being here is kind of wild. Like, you kind of honestly swinging the bat on him ain't a bad option. I think instead I'm probably going with the defensive line, and I'm thinking Siaki Ika, but they have a few nose tackles. They took last year, right? They took was it the UCLA cat that they took? Here, Raiders depth chart. Because if anything, I mean, he hasn't really played this year regardless. Can't think of his name. All right, Neil Farrell. There we go, the LSU guy. Who they also brought in Matthew Butler. Like, I guess Tyree Wilson, who I'm starting to get around to his tape, man. I get why people are excited, man. I'm just waiting for that one big matchup with him. I'm pretty confident this is the area I want to go. Yeah, I think it is. I'm gonna. You know what? I haven't. No, I'm not completely sold on Tyree Wilson yet. I'm gonna go with Siaki Ika, and that'll be our final pick here. Let's go ahead and take a gander. Again, we did the pick at the beginning. Here, wow, they're not included in the. I gave them 2 first-round picks. Oh, okay. I see. They're just showing the 2 picks I got traded. Okay, I was like, that is not what the trade looked like. But if you don't remember the trade, just go look at it earlier at the beginning of the video. But I like this. I feel good about these picks. I don't mind where everyone kind of fell. To me, it's kind of believable. We got 5 quarterbacks going in the first 18 picks. So a little similar to 2021, where we had 5 quarterbacks go in the top 15. We had our run on wide receivers right here, 3 straight, and then never saw from it again. We had 4 offensive tackles go, along with interior player and BB. There's a lot of fun edge talent in this class. Like, BJ Ojulari feels like he deserves to be a first rounder. Like, I'd prefer to take Ojulari over someone like Nolan Smith. It's just Nolan Smith has the run defense that helps him a ton. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.